Hey Laura, how are you? Weekend was pretty good. Yeah. How was yours, Brianna? Did some stuff around the house, worked on videos, had to get the video ready for Tuesday, talked to people, prepping for more recordings, you know, usual. Played some computer games. Hey Jeremiah. Hey Laura. Brewers won, going to the NLCS. Heck yeah. How are the Red Sox doing this year? I haven't paid attention at all. Hey Abby, good morning. Thank you. What you talking about? Nothing right now. We just started up. We're talking about how everyone's weekends were. At some point, we'll talk about what's going on in the world right now, but we literally just started up. So, good morning, Bobby. How are you? Guys, make sure if you're over on the tube that you hit that thumbs up. Hey, Ellie. It's not a clean spending bill. What is being funded right now is different than what is being funded in March. It's not clean. But, nice try. Again, I have no love for the Democrats, but this is not their fault. Plenty of other things in this country are their fault, but do I think we'll have a resolution before end of week? Uh, that's a good question. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I had a good answer to that, but I don't know. Nope. Dems don't suck. At least no more or less than any political group. The No Kings protest will have a much different temperature, if not. It's true. I'm guessing probably not. I mean, I guessed it would be 3 weeks minimum. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. Hey, Angel. you think the president has too much power? I think that Congress has given the president too much power, yes. Yep. Congress has literally abdicated their responsibilities and allowed the president to govern via executive order, which is not how our government was designed to run. Nope, not Democrat. But thanks for playing. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. People's Day. Do I think the executive order privilege should be eliminated? Whiskey Girl, that is a dumb question. Sorry. That is a dumb question. Do I think the executive order privilege should be shut down? I think if Congress is doing its job, I have no issue with the president's ability to do executive orders, because what an executive order is supposed to do, I don't have that much of an issue with. Do I love it? No. I've got some issues, but I think a bigger issue is that Congress isn't doing its job. I think that's the bigger problem. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. I don't know why you guys want to celebrate Columbus. He was a pretty horrible person. But, I mean, never mind. I know exactly why. Never mind. I answered my own question. Never mind. I mean, Arlene, you're right. You're right. Oh, yeah, Michelle. Absolutely was. Okay. Good for him. Happy Indigenous Day. Supreme Court and Congress do their job. EOs aren't an issue. Correct, Philip. 100% agree. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. It is kind of crazy, Arlene. It is kind of crazy when you think about it. But when that is a extremely large portion of your history, I guess it shouldn't be surprising. Columbus did not start the USA. And even if he did, that doesn't mean we need to celebrate him. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. I mean, Brianna, it really shouldn't be surprising that this is what's bringing people. Yes, Adam, I have read a history book. Obviously, you haven't. Persons does not apply to only one person, but that's okay. Oh, the commenter. Okay. Sorry. Hey, Brits. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. Sad day for Dems. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. No, it's Indigenous Persons Day. I mean, Indigenous people are part of the BIPOC community. Yup. It is Indigenous Persons Day. Good morning, Kia. Has a Native American ever run for president? I don't think so. Nope. Today is not Columbus Day. It's Indigenous Persons Day. I don't know why you'd want to celebrate someone who is such a horrible person. Didn't Elizabeth Warren? That's true. Elizabeth Warren did run. I think. Actually, I don't know if she ran for president. No, you're not Indigenous. If your family lived here for 200 years, you understand. She did? Okay. There you go. Why do we say it's a GOP shutdown? Because the GOP have the majority, and in order for them to get 60 votes for something, they need to get the minority. They need to get 8 votes from the minority. So it is the responsibility of the majority to negotiate, and they have not negotiated at all. Land of delusion? Okay. Says the guy who. Okay. What about my boy Chucky? What boy Chucky? Can you put what in the blocked words? Yep, and a 35-day shutdown under the Trump administration. Has the Arizona Congresswoman been sworn in? I don't believe so. Not yet. Hey, Barbie. Hey, Crystal. House is still out this week. Yup. Welcome to the world we live in. Guys, if you're over on the tube, if you could please give a thumbs up if you like what's going on in this live. It helps out a lot. If you're over on TikTok, please tap that nose. It also helps. Hey, David. Thanks for being here. Nope. All right, Philip. Not That's not how Congress works. Philip, maybe you should understand how negotiation and Congress work before you make statements like that. No jams this morning? I can't while I'm live on the tube as well, Brits. I will get taken down. Take my own advice. What advice would that be, Daniel? It's not a clean bill. Things are not funded that were funded in March. It's not a clean bill. No, they're not blackmailing. They want to negotiate, just like that's how you get bills passed. You negotiate. Oh, I know about our government, Daniel. Obviously more than you. They didn't offer the same bill. Unless PBS is going to be funded, it's not the same bill. Unless USAID is going to be funded, it's not the same bill. Unless, like, they are defunding things. So you doubt it? Okay. Well, thanks for playing. Thanks, GBA, Dad. Nope. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. A clean bill means it's exactly the same. It's not exactly the same. Doesn't matter what you think. You can't say it's a clean bill when it's not a clean bill. What's your prediction on how long? I guess 21 days. We'll see. It is not clean in any way, shape, or form. Civics coloring books? Just because you say it doesn't mean it isn't. Again, because things that were funded when they signed the original one in March are not funded anymore. It's not the same. It is not the same budget as March. Things have changed in it. Well, they should have started negotiating before. They should have started negotiating at all if they wanted things to pass and not waited until the last moment. Nope, that's not how it works, Cat. It can't be. It's not the exact same if you have taken things out of it. You guys understand that? You're literally proving my point. It's the exact same, except it doesn't have things. That means it's not the same. Okay? That's how this works. It's not the same. Seriously, GBA Dad. Seriously. This It doesn't matter. It's not the same. If it's not the same, then it's not clean. Hey, Kayla. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. I mean, it does matter if it's clean because they want them to sign on to the extended funding of a bill that they don't want. If they wanted to extend it longer, they should have started negotiating. They didn't negotiate. What's to say in 7 weeks that they would do anything different than they're doing now? They had a whole year to work on the budget, and they chose not to. Indigenous Persons Day. It's Indigenous Persons Day. Indigenous Persons Day. It's Indigenous Persons Day. Why are we celebrating Columbus, Ohio? That's a good question. Indigenous Persons Day. They are out in the woodwork, Upland. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. An executive order is not law. Thank you, Linz. You too. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. You know, I'm changing it to peoples. No, I like person. Never mind. We're changing. Nope. It's Indigenous Persons Day. They're both right, Dakota. They're both plurals of a specific person. You mean Indigenous Persons Day? You're right, buddy. Nope, still Indigenous Persons Day. Executive order is not law. Yeah. To be fair, nobody discovered this continent. This continent was always here with people on it. Indigenous People's Day. Why do you even care that you guys are trying to celebrate someone that caused the loss of life of thousands upon thousands of indigenous people instead of celebrating the people that lived here first? You really asking that question? Hi, Veronica. Happy Indigenous Day. Nope. GOP. But thanks for playing. Good morning, Patty. Okay. I still think it's hilarious that you're celebrating a guy who caused the loss of life of thousands upon thousands of indigenous people. Yeah, it's also the Gulf of Mexico. True. New bear shirt is coming in today. They need all the help. There you go. Oh, nice, Angel. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. Yeah, you already said that, Globe Trucker. This is so boring. Okay, then go find somewhere else to be. Don't have to be here. The funny thing is you talking just caused you to be here more. No, it's Indigenous Persons Day. Oh, no, it's real. It's 100% real. Executive order is not law. You mean the federal government money they get as a small tiny amount as they got literally pushed out of their land and their homes and thrown into some of the worst land in the country? Is that what you mean, Globe Trekker? Is that the money that you're angry about them getting? The fact that they have been literally pushed out of every... Yeah, well, grow up, piece of shit. Goodbye. Recently bought a shirt that says radical leftist. Oh, I hear you, Angel. I mean, happy Indigenous Persons Day. We don't allow that kind of stuff in this live. People can call the day whatever they want. I have no control over that. But when you start complaining that Indigenous people are getting funding to help, no, not even a little bit. But nope. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. Native Americans discovered Columbus. It's true. Hey, Scott.
Good morning. We're on the annual Columbus Indigenous Persons argument again.
Yep. Well,
Oh, for
I mean,
Christ's sake.
it doesn't help that our administration decided to sign executive order.
Well, he can sign executive orders all he wants. It's not law.
I understand that. You and I understand that. The people that support him don't seem to understand that.
Well, there's a lot they don't understand. They're going to understand a lot more when they get their health care bills on November 1st.
Skunk, you are a piece of shit and you don't deserve to be here. Don't you ever talk about humans like that. So, this, I feel like, did you watch any of Trump's thing this morning over in the Middle East?
No, I missed out on that.
You didn't miss much.
I'm sure I didn't. Perhaps that's why he was at Walter Reed last week, getting all pumped up so he could fly in an airplane.
Yeah.
You know, his annual physical, which seems to come every 3 months now.
Mm-hmm. Of course he spoke for an hour. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was over in that country in the Middle East, giving himself some massive pats on the back for all the work that he did, which should have you know he didn't do any work. Should be all be very happy the living hostage. Of course we're happy that the hostages have been released. It's not over though. It's not done. They literally flattened an entire country. And they're pretending like everything's back to normal and fine. Nope, it's not. Indigenous Persons Day. But thanks for playing. What work? I mean, it's like a 20-step process. In that's assuming nothing goes wrong, by the way.
And if nothing goes wrong in the Middle East, that'd be the first time nothing went wrong in the Middle East. Things are always going wrong in the Middle East.
What was your plan, genius? Okay.
I think your
Thank you.
plan is send him on the train to St. Elsewhere.
Yep. It still does. It still drives me. It boggles my mind that people in this country want to celebrate someone who did. I mean, and it happens in so many different things. The idea that celebrating someone who did horrific things is still considered okay in this country. But, you know, oh, please, who told you that? History. You understand that history books know exactly what Columbus did, right? Oh, okay, Kathy. Have a nice day. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. Has there been any new information coming? How's New Jersey doing with the nor'easter?
It's been pretty nasty out here. I'm awaiting losing electricity in any minute, but I just checked about 2 seconds before I came on your live, and so far only 5,000 are without power, which is a lot better than the 10,000 an hour ago. And but the brunt of the storm we still have another 20 hours of storm to go. Nor'easters, well, you're from Massachusetts. I don't have to explain this to you. Nor'easters can last 3 days, and this one's going to be a 3-day one. So we still have another day to go. Got all the flashlights ready, the bottled water, everything else.
Hey, Eleanor. He was hired by Spain to explore. And that means what? It's just, guys. But history has lied to us. You know that. Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eleanor. Appreciate you. I love when people think they know everything. We've just got a bunch of scholars, a bunch of the top scholars in the world in chat right now, and we didn't even know it. Has there been any news on early voting in Jersey or Virginia?
Yes, the early voting is going a little bit better for the Democrats than normal, but I don't want the Democrats to take anything for granted because early voting tends to go better for the Democrats, but they are outperforming their numbers of 2021, the last gubernatorial election. You know, the thing with Mikey Sherrill, and by the way, it looks like it's Mickey, Mickie, but it's pronounced Mikey.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it is. It's pronounced Mikey. Is she going to do as well as Stamberger in Virginia? No, she's not. And there are, while most elections in American politics, unfortunately, are now national, there's still some local issues involved. And in New Jersey, there is a tendency in the last 40 years not to give either political party the governorship for 12 straight years. And if the Democrat wins this time, that would be 12 straight years. So Cheryl has those headwinds. And also, there is the issue of property taxes and electric bills, which, property taxes has been an issue in New Jersey forever. It's the highest property taxes in the country. And every candidate gets elected, and 8 years later, they're unpopular because they couldn't do much about them. And the electric bills are being blamed on the Democrats, which has nothing to do with the Democrats or the Republicans, by the way. It has to do with the power grid. However, if you're in office, you get the credit, and if you're in office, you get the blame. So she has those headwinds.
Yep.
Meanwhile, do I believe that the Emerson poll is correct that had that a draw, a dead even race? No, I think Cheryl, if I had to guess right now, a month out, a little bit less than a month out now, about for 3 weeks out. If I had to guess, I would guess that we're looking at a blowout in Virginia. The Democrats will win by 10 to 12, and I think about half that in New Jersey. But I do think that Cheryl will win.
Yeah, if you watch the video that I posted Friday, where I interviewed someone who's running, she talked about some of the issues that she's got in her district, like one of the lowest voting districts, at least in the state.
Yeah, that's Katie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, her, she's up in North Jersey. She's in Hudson County, which is, the heart of the Democratic machine in New Jersey. And she was not one of their preferred candidates in the primary, and she won it. And she jumped on my radar just by winning that primary. She is someone to keep an eye on. She is a very fascinating. We keep talking about getting young, outside the box thinkers in politics, not just in New Jersey, but everywhere. She's someone to keep an eye on, folks. If you haven't seen Mike's interview with her, I'm not saying this is a plug to Mike. I'll do that later. Please watch that one. That's very interesting, about a half hour long. I actually watched it twice. It's pretty good. She's a very intriguing candidate, and she jumped onto my radar. I think she's in District 32, if memory serves.
I think
Am
that's
I
what
correct?
she said, yeah.
Yeah, she's in District 32 up in North Jersey, and she knocked off the Hudson County machine. And let me tell you something, you don't do that easily. And when I saw those results come in from the primary, before I had no idea who she was. When I saw those results come in from the primary, I started following her, long before you interviewed her, because I said, this is unusual. You usually don't beat the machine in Hudson County, and she did. And she got 30% increase in voter turnout over the 2021 primary.
Yeah.
So that's telling you something about the grassroots. Basically, that's telling you, Mike, what we have been seeing over 47 special elections throughout the country since the election of 2024. Not only are the Democrats outperforming their 2024 numbers by an average of 16 points, but keep your eyes on the turnout. The turnout has been good.
Yeah.
And that was one of the big problems that hurt Democrats in the 2024 election, is especially in the Hispanic and Black community, and a little bit with Gen Z. It wasn't just that they lost a lot of votes in those communities. And when I say Black community, I'm only referring to Black males under the age of 50, because Black females really turned out big time for Harris. It was the low turnout that hurt more than even the shifting of votes. And that appears to be self-correcting now, which, has a lot of impact on how the midterms will go. And the reason that folks, even if you don't live in New Jersey or Virginia, that you should pay attention to these elections in the last 25 years or so in this century, the election results in New Jersey and Virginia have been a very good predictor of how the midterms would go. They've been about the best predictor of how the midterms would go. So keep your eyes. Those elections are only in a couple of weeks, and that's for governor and the state legislatures in both New Jersey and in Virginia.
Have I've been I noticed the whole thing about what's her face, the governor of Maine running for Senate.
Governor Mills,
Yeah. I'm actually annoyed by that.
because of her age.
No, well, a little bit, but no, not that's not as huge of a thing. Um, it's because they've already got, at least in my opinion, two really good candidates for Senate in Maine. And I feel like um the status quo leadership of the Democratic Party did not like either of those choices because they saw them as too progressive and got Janet Mills to run.
Okay, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but the bottom line is that Susan Collins always has a habit of being down in the polls and winning the election. She's been counted out many times before, and she always seems to pull it out. And Mills would be the most powerful candidate against her. And, if the Democrats are going to have fucking phone,
You're fine.
if the Democrats are going to have any chance, I mean, even the slim chance they have of flipping the Senate, they have to win in Maine. Maine is not a maybe. Maine is not a, geez, that'd be a nice bonus. Maine is a prerequisite to any chance the Democrats have whatsoever of taking the Senate.
Yeah, I just think we're dealing with, I think what's his face, the guy who is like a oyster farmer or whatever. I think he has a better shot than um the status quo leadership think that he's got. I think they don't like him, if we're being honest. I think the more moderate um leadership do not like him because he speaks his mind very loudly, and he is not a he is much less of a do what you're told kind of a candidate.
Yeah, he's a lot like Osborne is in Nebraska.
Yeah.
He's a very independent type of guy. Yeah.
I mean, you look at the way he interacts with um during his uh town halls. Yeah, Plattner. Um I think he'd, yeah. I'm just, like I said, I'm just annoyed at this I understand in certain areas, the super progressives may not work, but I think there's been um quite a bit of evidence that Plattner speaks to both sides pretty dang well. Better than any almost any candidate that I've seen, and yet still is quite progressive in the policies he is pushing for. And I just think the fact that they did this is just going to frustrate a lot more people with the Democratic Party.
I'm not so sure that I'm 100% in agreement. Mills has taken a very firm stance against the administration. Not all governors have done that. She is a popular governor. She's got a lot going for her too as a candidate, Mike.
I'm not saying that she is a bad candidate. I'm saying it looks bad. And you know as well as I do that this whole thing that elections are just as much about perception as they are reality, regardless of whether it should be.
Well, if you're going to say that, you could make the same argument against Roy Cooper down in your state.
Yeah, but we didn't have other people running
Okay.
before that. We didn't have someone going through with the kind of tidal wave that Plattner had. And again, I'm not even saying that it's going to be wrong. I'm just saying maybe it's just the way the news came out. It's the way everything came out. The way it came out was leadership had been trying to get her to run, and they finally were able to do it. And I just like, in my brain, I'm like, have you seen the videos? Have you seen anything? And again, age is a thing too. We just can't.
I guess the issue comes down to, could Plattner beat Susan Collins? And I think he could. I think Susan Collins is this time in trouble, but God damn it, I've said Susan Collins is in trouble before, and she just always manages to win.
That's fair.
I don't think that she could beat Mills. I really don't. I don't know whether or not she could beat Plattner. I just don't know.
I hear you.
That's not to say that she would beat Plattner. I really legitimately don't know. That'd be more in the toss-up category.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens in the primaries. It's in the grand scheme of things, that is hopefully Maine will come out in the primaries and make their decision, and then we'll go from there. In a country that is so tired, especially in a country on the left that is tired of not just status quo, but even the perception of pushing status quo. And again, as someone who doesn't have a it isn't from Maine, I'm frustrated. It frustrated me. That's all. Again, it's not to say that she's bad. It's just the leadership. It feels so many times like the leadership is taking one step forward and then two steps back in the way they are going about messaging. Even the messaging of her becoming the candidate, I feel, was bad.
Okay.
But that's just me. I could be completely wrong.
I just the way I look at it is, I also like Plattner a lot, but I also like Mills, and it's sort of like in Texas, the more the merrier. If you're getting quality candidates, let them fight it out in the primaries. At least you know one thing: you're going to have a quality candidate in November. So I don't mind that. I'd like to actually talk about the Texas Senate race, if I may.
Sure.
And on the Republican side, as we know, there is a real dogfight between that lunatic Paxton and the incumbent Senator Cronin, who is now caught up with Paxton. Well, an interesting thing happened last week. The congressman from I believe he's right outside of Houston, a guy by the name of Hunt, has jumped into the Republican primary. Now, he's probably not going to win, but the issue is, could he get 10, 12, 15% of the vote? Yeah, he easily could. And that would lead probably to a runoff. And here's why. Texas is a 50% state, much like the state of Georgia. You all remember how Warnock got forced into a runoff. You have to win more than 50%, okay? And it's a 2.5-month campaign after the primary if you have to go into a runoff. That's 2.5 months of spending. That would bankrupt whoever the Republican who would eventually win the runoff. That would bankrupt them. So if you get a runoff between Cronin and Paxton, because Hunt takes 10 to 15%, you're going to bankrupt them. Heading into November, they're not going to have much time to raise money. They'll still get a lot of money, but you're going to, the Democrat, whoever wins the Democratic nomination, Alred or Tallarico, is probably going to have a massive financial advantage, especially the way both of them are raising money right now, especially Tallarico.
Tallarico, I think, is going to win.
Yeah, but he's coming on strong. Well, but let's talk about the Republican thing here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough haul if Cronin is the incumbent Senator Cronin is the, and I may be mispronouncing his name, and I apologize if I am, if he is the nominee. Texas went 14 points for Trump in the last election. That's red, folks. That's red by a lot. I know. I keep hearing, oh, we're going to win Texas. We're going to win Florida. Yeah, let's get in reality. It's a deep red state. However, if you get into a runoff, who shows up in runoff elections? The electorate is much smaller, and only the far right in the Republican Party will bother to vote. That could make Paxton the nominee if he gets into a runoff. I think that if Cronin can't get to 50% in the primary, he's going to lose the runoff to Paxton. And if you have Paxton running, the Democrats got a very legitimate shot of winning that seat, even with as deep a red state as it is. Paxton is that polarizing. There's going to be a lot of Republicans stay home and not bother to vote if he's going to be their nominee in November. And that would be very, very interesting. And that's why I find that fascinating that Hunt jumped in, because otherwise I thought Cronin would have beaten him in the primary because Paxton's losing ground. On the Democratic side, Alred still has a lead over Tallarico, but it's shrinking very quickly. And Tallarico, just in 3 weeks, has raised $6 million. There's something happening with that guy down there. He's taken off like a rocket. And, the other thing I want to just say is, like I just said with Maine, Alred is a damn good candidate. And so is Tallarico. And Democrats have this tendency when they decide to back one person to start knocking and ripping apart the other person and saying that they're bad. And that's a real bad habit that Democrats have. If you've got two good people, by all means support your person, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the opponent is a bad person.
Right.
The Democrats have two solid choices. I like Tallarico myself, but I've never seen anybody come out of nowhere. I mean, yes, it would be an all-time record what he's raised, but that record now belongs to Roy Cooper in North Carolina. But Roy Cooper has name recognition. Tallarico had no name recognition at all, and he's raised $6 million in 3 weeks. Tallarico's raised $4 million, but that's over 3 months.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Alred, I meant. Tallarico has raised $6 million in 3 weeks. Something is going on in Texas. And I'll tell you, if he is the nominee and he's got to run against Paxton, he's got a legitimate shot. And yes, I say that knowing full well that Texas is a deep red state, but he's got a legitimate shot.
Yeah, he is definitely liked by a lot of Texans that normally would not consider. They are deep red in their voting. They may not be deep red as a whole. They may be closer to 50-50, but voting wise, they have not.
Matty, I merely point out the election of 2024. I mean, Trump won by 14 points. That's deep red no matter how you look at it. That's deep red. It is. The votes were there.
I mean, and a senator technically is not hurt by gerrymandering. If people,
gerrymandering has nothing to do with the presidential election. Neither does it have anything to do with senatorial elections. The only time gerrymandering comes into place is in the House of Representatives or state legislature.
Imagine the alternative. I love how people also think they know the future. I'm sorry, I don't bring in people I don't know. It's nothing against you. I don't. If they're not part of the community to the point that we feel we know you, I don't bring people up.
Yeah, we talk a lot about young, bright voices, and that's for both parties, not just the Democratic Party. But we talk a lot about the need to bring the next generation up. And
Hi,
I'll
Di.
tell you, this kid, Talarico, checks an awful lot of boxes. He really does. He is a most impressive young candidate. I think he's only 36.
Di, you're welcome to come up if you have time. I know life's been crazy for you. You could talk about all the Supreme Court stuff that's going on, which has been, I don't know, if you want. He's white and loves the Lord. Great for the Dems.
Well, politically, it probably is, especially in Texas. I'll leave out any moral judgment on loving the Lord or anything like that, but yeah, that's politically that's a positive for the Democrats in Texas. You
No,
bet it is.
no worries, Di. I hope you keep getting better.
Gen X, you know a lot more about Iowa politics than I do. What I know is that the Democrats have a better shot than normal in Iowa, both in congressional races and the others only because your governor is the most unpopular governor in the country right now.
I'm going to be
And
interviewing.
statistically, she is the most unpopular governor.
I'm interviewing Layla Staton on Thursday.
Could you tell us a little bit about her?
She's a Gen Z running for Congress in Iowa. Like a young Gen Z too. I just saw, basically I've been reaching out to people running, progressives that are running, so we can to get interviews so people can learn about progressives that are running all over. So you'll learn more because I'm gonna post, like when I post the episode, you'll definitely should watch because you'll learn all about her. Rob Sand. Thanks, Gen X. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll be posting an episode of someone who's running for governor. Very, very cool and interesting candidate. Very different from the ones that you're used to, but definitely cares about Colorado, and hopefully she can get the word out about her.
Or is it Governor Gen X? Because I know the guy, but I'm a little bit confused right now. Okay, it is Governor. Okay. Yeah, I typed that Senate and then I said, no, I think he's running for governor.
What is an Indigenous American?
I don't believe he's being a wise ass. I think he really wants to know, Mike.
An Indigenous American is a person whose lineage goes back to the people that were living here from the beginning, before colonization happened. And that's anywhere. Like if your lineage goes back, but this is specifically talking about Native American, so indigenous people. Just like there are indigenous people in Australia. No, no, I don't. Don't mean that. They're indigenous Americans. They are people that were here before the colonization happened.
And Gen X, again, you would be a little bit better than me at this. I would imagine that the results of the tariffs and the problems with the farming community would create some kind of opening for Sand in his bid for governor. What do you think?
Sorry, I just want to answer Philip quick. Philip, the answer is absolutely. I would love to talk and see if we could work something out to talk to him. That would be absolutely cool. Sorry, what was your question again? Scott?
Oh, I was speaking to Gen X.
Oh.
She's already answered. She said the school issue is the major issue in Iowa.
Gotcha.
And I was just wondering the effect of the tariffs and a lot of the crops that they're not able to sell right now also would make them a little bit upset. See, Iowa is a red state. There's no doubt about it. They've gone a lot redder in this century than they were before. However, they're a different kind of red state. They're very independent minded. They're a lot like Utah in that regard. They're a red state, but they're not necessarily a heavily MAGA type state.
Is up with people. Anyone who comes in and says simple research, which will show you that, I'm going to say this again. ChatGPT, not research. Google AI, not research. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. That does not mean you can't use either as a starting point for things you don't know and where to start looking, but that is not research. If that is where you're getting your information from, you do a search and you just take the first thing that comes up. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. You are not researching. Happy Indigenous Persons Day. I know it frustrates some people that there are people come in and do it, but honestly, I feel bad for them. They're literally celebrating a guy who did some really horrible things to people. And that just boggles my mind.
Well, plus he didn't discover America anyway.
Also true.
Yeah, I mean, there's also that little tidbit.
By people being lazy, not looking up facts. I mean, so here's the issue. And this goes back to schooling, right? And even the people that are teaching not having a good understanding on how education, how research works in the internet era. There is a lot of information out there. And because of that, to some extent, it can be harder to find what you're looking for. And if you aren't taught how to find what you're looking for in the internet era, it can be very easy to get the wrong information. You just shake your magic 8 ball. Does that count? Yes, Claire, absolutely counts. Yep, 100%. Not taught what questions to ask. True. That's also true, Di. Yeah, not taught what questions to ask. Yeah. It's I don't know how we get past this point in this current system. Like, you can't just magically train tens of millions of people that don't know how to research, how to start researching.
Well, you know what I wish people would research a little bit more, Mike, since it's part of your headline today about the government shutdown and the sticking point or the subsidies for the ACA. I wonder if those who think that the Republicans are right on this shutdown really understand just where those subsidies for the ACA go, because I looked it up. 2.5 to 1, Source Kaiser Foundation, okay, which is the healthcare, that's the primary source for understanding everything about healthcare in the United States. 2.5 to 1, the subsidies go to red states. So what are the red states that lead in subsidies for the ACA? Or
Louisiana.
excuse me, what are the states that lead in subsidies for the ACA? They are Florida, Texas, Georgia, Utah, South Carolina, Mississippi, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Nebraska. Those are the top 9. And what do those top 9 all have in common? They all voted for Trump. Folks, the Republicans in Congress are voting to hurt their own voters. Get that through your heads. Really, get that through your heads. You're not hurting the blue states nearly as much as you're hurting the red states.
If you don't watch the content of Tad Stormer, Tadstoermer, he's got a really interesting perspective on what's going on in the country right now. And he doesn't tell anyone what they should do. He just goes based on history. And it's been really interesting to watch his stuff. Yes, he's a historian. Yep. On resistance history. He's a resistance historian.
Is that the guy who just published a book?
Technically, it's not out yet. It's in pre-order, but yes.
Yeah, it was referenced on Ezra Klein's column in the New York Times. He was talking about it as one of the best books out.
Tad Stormer, Stoermer.
Yeah, he apparently does a statistical analysis, which would be right up my alley, of just how many people and what it takes for a resistance movement to be successful. And he gives historical analogies of it.
And he talks about the difference between more active resistance to the different levels. Yes, Kia. Yes. And he just, his videos are really good. I'm looking forward to his book coming out because I'm definitely going to get it. He just looks at the reality of things. Some of the stuff kind of feels bleak in the sense of the way he sees some things through the historical eye. He's like, we're already at X, Y, and Z. And I think there's a lot of us that hope that he's wrong on that because that's frightening if he's right. But we also need to know these things. Again, this is what this podcast is supposed to all be all about. It's, you know, yes, it sucks if he is right, but we also need to have that conversation.
Yeah, and I think you can pre-order it now on Amazon. It comes out in a couple of weeks, I think, Mike. His book is the published
I
date.
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Canada, no one knows the future. He is basing the future on the past, which he may be right. He absolutely may be right. But in the end, we won't know until it happens. The fact is we are in the way society works right now is very different from the time of, say, the revolution and stuff. So while there are probably, he could absolutely write. What's the name of the book? I'll look it up. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, he popped up. Resistance History. See if I can find out when it comes out. It looks like if you go to his website, it's got a bunch of, like, he's got a blog and stuff like that.
Good morning.
Hey,
I had to disappear. I'm sorry.
you don't need to apologize. I understand.
I was like, if I heard you say, no, it's not Columbus Day one more time, I was like, I'm going to pull all my hair out.
I mean, yeah, I knew it was going to happen, but also I don't care what they think. The United States. If that's the one I'm thinking, it actually. Oh, I'm gonna have to do some looking. Either way, you should check out his stuff.
I think for sure the one thing I see is that if what happens after that war we had in the 1860s, if at the end of this regime, if there is not a whole lot of accountability handed out and a whole lot of people don't either face jail time, lose their law licenses, lose their businesses, and lose everything, it's gonna happen again.
So according to Amazon, it doesn't come out until June of next year.
Oh, that's a long way away. But also, JoJo, I feel like even if they try to ban it, like you can still buy it at bookstores and stuff. Like they can't silence it forever. You know, they can try. They can really try, but
Yeah, they could keep it out of schools. They can't keep it out of bookstores.
right. Right, which like should schools be learning the truth about things? Yeah, but we've seen that they control schools to an insane extent, but you can still buy it at bookstores. People can still talk about it. People can still, share it, promote it, all that stuff. No, and you're right. It is insane how many books have been banned. Because, apparently we're snowflakes, but I guess books about Steve and Bob kissing and stuff like hurts your feelings or animals in a farm,
Well, not just Steve and Bob kissing. We have
so much
we have
more.
the banning of the Diary of Anne
Yeah, I was about
Frank.
to say.
Yeah,
we
it's so
have
much
the
more than
banning
that. It
of-
starts
we-
there, but like,
Yeah, we have the banning of To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, some of the classic American
Animal
and
Farm.
worldwide literature of the entire 20th century.
It's
I mean, that's
but that's
bizarre.
crazy. And it's crazy because it's like The Catcher in the Rye, Animal Farm, Fahrenheit 451, like all of these things that I remember reading, like were so good. And it's just like, what are you so afraid of? And it's so ironic that we ban like Fahrenheit 451 because clearly you didn't read the book. Clearly you're not paying attention. But
Exactly, Allie. Not only were those books not banned when we were in school, I don't know about you, but I was required to read them.
Yeah.
They were required reading
Yes.
as great works of literature.
Yes. I read I mean, I'm not that old, but old enough, I guess, that I read them before they were banned. But I read Fahrenheit 451 for a summer reading assignment, and, like, that book was so good. Animal Farm I read, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Catcher in the Rye, like, all of those I read, and it's sad because it's like, what are you so afraid of? Because none of those books did I pick up on, like, the whatever propaganda they call that it is, they say that it is. I just read them, like, they were just good. But it's really ironic that we ban Fahrenheit 451, and that is the whole precipice of the book. That clearly you didn't read the book, um, but you're doing exactly what the book did in real time. It's sad. But oh yeah, but you can read the Bible in some schools,
But
which
that's what
is
but that's what happens when we go away from problem solving, critical thinking and stuff to just trying to get test scores and get good grades on tests.
right.
You lose all of the in betweens, everything else. Um, we don't. It's like that's the fact that you can go from one state to another and the textbook, it could have the same exact cover, but it has different information on the inside
Hmm.
of it. I think that's part of the problem. The
Yes.
the fact that it is all this test scores. Test scores do not tell you whether or not people know the information. It just tells you that they know how to remember stuff to pass tests.
Yeah. I don't test well, and I have 2 bachelor's and a master's and had extremely high GPAs and all of that, and on state testing, you would never have known because I don't test well on stuff like that. So it's crazy that that's the marker that we're using for that, and, like, it's sad. It's sad that we're trying to whitewash history. It's sad that we're trying to hide things from history books. Like, the Diary of Anne Frank, are we kidding? Are we kidding? That is so important for us as people to read and to know and to, like, understand, and it's not propaganda, like, it's not anything. If you cannot admit that what happens to those people is wrong, whatever side of the coin you're on, whatever side of the aisle you sit on, if you cannot admit that that was wrong and the kids should absolutely be reading The Diary of Anne Frank, I don't know what to tell you. Because you're obviously scared. And I would imagine that kids going through what's happening in our country right now would probably be writing things similar to the Diary of Anne Frank. And it's sad as a country how far we've fallen. Truly, it's sad.
Ali, I cannot think of any logical or even political reason why the Diary of Anne Frank, To Kill a Mockingbird, Fahrenheit 451, books like that are banned.
There's
I can't.
none. Like
There's no logical reason at all behind
there's
the banning
literally
of those books.
there's no logic. There's no
It, it
logic.
it is the
Like
rise of idiocracy, and JoJo had it right in a comment that she made a while back. There is a movement to keep people stupid in this country, and there's just
and
no
it's
other
just
way to word it.
But it's just like, for what? Like, I
Well, we know
remember
what
just
for what.
being so intrigued by, like, Animal Farm. Like, that was so powerful for me as a student to read Lord of the Flies. Like, so many of those books that I didn't take it as propaganda. I don't know, it didn't make me the way that I am, but it's just like, what is the point? And I know it's control, but it's just like knowledge is power. And these are books. Like, at the end of the day, these are books. They're not necessarily based on anything true besides the Diary of Anne Frank. That it's like, what are you so afraid of? Why are you so afraid of people being educated? Why are you so afraid of people reading? And you're dumb because banning these books, if I'm being honest, if I never read these books, if I just saw that they're banned, I love going through and reading banned books. I'm a defiant little girl. I love reading the books that are banned because I'm like, why'd you ban them? What are you afraid of? I'm gonna read this book and find out that, like, you can't stop people. You can't, like, we need to learn about these things. Like, we need to understand, like, Animal Farm. We need to understand that. Like, all of George Orwell's books, we need to understand these things. We need to be there. We need to be reading them. We need to be thinking bigger. But banning books, you're just you're just adding more fuel to the fire for the resistance. You're adding more people to the fight because you're banning paper. You're banning words on paper. Like you're just
They're trying to ban ideas.
which is crazy.
Great literature is equated with education. Education is equated with elitism. Elitism is equated with the Democratic Party.
Always.
That's why they're banning them.
Always. And it's sad.
And
It's sad.
it's crazy because we we like ideas. We like new ideas. They don't. They want
Mm-mm.
things to go back to the way they were for them, to a way they understood. So it's crazy to us, but
It's not to them.
And the funny thing is, Mike, the ironic thing is, it's not funny, it's irony actually, is that the good old days weren't really that good.
Kid, you want to? What did you want to say?
Is it not working though? Because like I've unmuted several times.
No, it's still showing that you're muted.
I can hear you, but it's showing you're muted.
Okay. But I think the thing is that it's not just stories that were banned. I don't know if you guys ever saw, but there was like a school in fucking Florida. They had all these bins of books, and it's not just stories. It's indigenous people's history. It's black people and their histories. It's history. It's not just stories that they're banning. The fact that it's okay for a state to teach that slavery was okay for black people really goes to show how low it's gone. But this is why I keep trying to tell people it's not just been since the orange person walked on the scene. This stuff has been put into place and it's been worked in for decades, since at least when I was born 45 years ago.
It's sad. And it's like, but people like stand on this. Like, I won't, whatever. Somebody running for governor in New Jersey thinks that Martin Luther King Jr. is a bad person, which is insane to me. Like, like, I don't understand how in 2025 this is truly really where we are as a people. Like it is sad that we are desperately trying to erase history that matters to people, that is why we're here where we are, that it's this, the suffragist movements and things like that, like all of these things, like people of color struggles. Like why are we hiding this? Why do we not want people to know? These are stories that deserve to be told and that should be told. This is part of our history. And if you're afraid of it, it's because you know that it was wrong and you don't want people to know about it. And it's sad. It's sad, honestly, that as a country, this is where we are, that we're supposed to be so great. Last I checked, as somebody that loves to read and as somebody that enjoys reading, banning books and telling kids what they can and can't read, but implementing the Bible in a school doesn't make us great. The Bible didn't make me great. Have I read the Bible because I was raised in a church? Absolutely. The Bible didn't make me great. But you know what did make me great? Reading all those stories, being able to read all these books in schools is what made me great. And Belinda, I have 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree.
Not that that should matter.
And
No,
the Diary of Anne Frank is certainly not a story, it's history.
it's literally her life. Like, are we kidding? And she's white.
It's history.
Yeah.
It's what happened. And by
Belinda,
the way, I
have
also would not approve of banning Mein Kampf either.
no.
Why?
It's part of history.
What?
Why do you think it matters, Belinda? Why do you
Why
think
do
it
my degrees
matters?
matter?
No, yeah.
Like, they don't. I have degrees.
You think that we can't read books from other people that have talked about literature?
I like to read generally. Like, even if I didn't have any degrees, if I had 0 degrees, I like to read. I'm a reader. Because growing up, my dad used to pick out a book in the grocery store, and I would read the book before we finished grocery shopping. So I've always been a reader.
Me too. I read history every single day. I wouldn't know how to sleep if I didn't. I sleep bad enough as it is, but I need to read every night.
I enjoy books, and like I I enjoy a span of books. I enjoy, books in my field. I enjoy different, mindsets. I enjoy different, philosophical books. I do enjoy a good, non, factual book, but in general, I like reading. Like I'm a reader. Um, but I think that it's sad that books like The Diary of Anne Frank are banned, but the Bible is an acceptable read in school. The Bible should never be acceptable in school. I don't understand because the Bible caters to one religion. Like why? Why? But we're so great, right?
It doesn't even matter that it caters to one religion. You might make an argument it caters to two, but it doesn't matter that it caters. It shouldn't cater to any religion.
No.
That's why it should be banned in school.
Right.
That's what the Establishment Clause of the Constitution is all about.
Right. Read the Bible in church. Read the Bible in your CCD. Read the Bible on your own time, but not in a school. That's propaganda, I feel like.
Or at
Like you're
minimum,
so scared.
have all the religious documents
Yes.
available from
Yes,
all the
exactly.
religions.
Because right, aren't we supposed to be great? We're supposed to be right free and we're supposed to be diverse and we're supposed to be accepting of all kinds. But we read the Bible and we are hiding the history of anyone that's not a straight white man. It's crazy to me. Like Milk, like I think he has a book or there was a book about him. Like things like that are so interesting and they're so important to read. But again, they're banned and they're hidden. And it's sad, but we're so great, right?
I mean, again, I have no problem with people reading the Bible. I read the Bible. It's not whether you read it or not, it's how it is used in society that I have an issue.
Right. And pushing it on people in schools, I don't feel is fair. I've read it, I read it, but pushing that on people in schools and making that the only thing is sad. And again, it's open for interpretation. Like so many people interpret it in different ways. So many that's why, there's not just one, not just like all churches under the same religious guise are the same. They're not. They're different. They preach differently, they speak differently, they interpret it differently.
I don't have a problem with Jojo with people following what they think is true in the Bible. Again, it's not that people believe it's true and follow it. It's how they interact with society based on those. Again,
Right.
I read the Bible and it says if I read the Bible and I think it says that I shouldn't have an AB, that's fine. I don't need to have one.
Canada, I think there is a bit of a difference between reading the Bible and requiring that it be read in a schoolroom. I
Yes.
think there's a difference there.
What year do we start teaching religion in schools? I mean, in general, we don't. Reading the Bible or any book isn't pushing. It depends how it is handled if it's in a school or if
If
it's
it's
in
a
a
required
government.
reading in school.
If it is, yeah, if it is just available, sure, it's not. As long as everyone's available, especially in a country that has freedom of and from religion. Just reading in general, no, of course that's not pushing. But the problem is not that people are reading, that people like reading the Bible or think that the Bible is real. It's that there's laws being made in different states and there's people trying to push things even nationwide that that push an idea or a belief of the Bible on people. That's the problem. The
Right.
problem is how the Bible is being used in American society, not that the Bible itself is pushing it.
Right. And it's like we have the separation of church and state, or we're supposed to, but then meanwhile, we're using the Bible as a guise for bans and for things that we're doing and decision that we're making.
Kia, were you saying something?
Yes. Di, when you ask what year do we start teaching religion in school, like, do you mean like just the idea of religion? Because I know, like, I grew up in upstate New York, and like,
Kia?
sorry, I was getting a call. Can
Nope.
you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Um, Part of what we learned when we did global studies is what we called it for those 2 years, is we learned about the different religions that of that time and that era that helped, that was part of the history. Um, but I know, like, my ex-boyfriend, his kids were in a Catholic private school, and they, like, his daughter was already doing religion and Bible stuff, I mean, straight out. And also putting the making schools teach the Bible, and a Bible that has an incomplete Constitution of the United States and all these other things in it that's not supposed to be in there. That is pushing. When states are requiring that you put the 10 Commandments on posted in a classroom for everybody to see, but only that religion, that is pushing.
Yeah, I agree. The problem isn't the Bible itself. The problem is how it's used. And it's probably better that it not be required reading in a schoolroom, in a public
Right.
schoolroom, in a public school.
Right. 100%. God, how are you feeling with the New Jersey election coming up?
I'm feeling confident. I as I was saying before, maybe before you came on, I'm looking at the various data. There is the Emerson poll that shows a dead heat, and Emerson's a good poll, but that's an outlier so far. Do I believe that Cheryl will win by the same amount that Stamberger will win in Virginia? No. But there are some New Jersey specific issues that are headwinds for the Cheryl campaign, namely the fact that New Jersey in this century and even dating back before it does not give one party 3 straight terms. So she has, you've had Murphy, who's a relatively unpopular governor here.
Right.
You have the issue of property taxes, and you have the issue of electric bills. All of those, I think, will hold down her margin of victory. But do I think that she's going to win? Yes, I do.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, if I had to put a number on it, I think that in Virginia, the Democrat will win easily, very easily, incredibly easily, by about 10 to 12 points, which for Virginia is an absolute landslide.
Right.
And I think in New Jersey, probably about half that.
And
I
I
think
can
I
see
think I
that.
think we're looking at 6, give or take 2 or 3.
And South Jersey, I get that. South Jersey, I feel like is some of like the redder areas. But I'm doing what I can, I am hopeful that it'll go the way that we want it to. Um,
Yeah,
because
I think it will. We see increased Democratic turnout across all 47 special elections. The Democrats are outperforming their 2024 numbers by an average of 16 points. There's going to be some spillover there. Are there some specific New Jersey issues that are weighing against the Democrats in general? Sure there
right.
are. You've lived here long enough, Allie, I'm sure, to know
Yes.
what an issue property taxes are here. And Murphy has not done, neither has anybody else. Nobody is ever successful in tackling that one.
No.
But they all promise to, they never deliver. And that always weighs against giving a third term to the same party. And that's the
Right.
headwind that Cheryl has to face, which is why I don't think she's going to do as well as the Democrats will do in Virginia. But do I
Right.
think that Citarelli's actually going to win? No, I don't.
Ugh. This is his third time, like, it's crazy, and I feel like it's scary from even a sense of, like, we are a safe haven for people to come to for women's health care, and if that's stripped away from us, as he is saying that he will, it is scary, and I think as a female too, generally, I know that we are relatively blue as a state, but hearing someone running for governor, seeing that women should submit to their husbands and women should serve their husbands is disgusting, and it is terrifying that in 2025 that is a belief that you stand on, and that is something that you are running on. It is disgusting. Like, it's sad, especially considering, like, you are, by saying that out loud, you are shooting at so many potential voters. Like, I don't know a lot of young women or women in general that'll be like, "Yep, that's a logic that I stand by. I can subscribe to that," because no, honey, I didn't go to school to get a master's to submit to a man. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. I submit to no one. The only man I answer to is the man upstairs. Exactly, Kat. Exactly.
Yeah, I hear you, and that's one of the reasons I think he's going to lose. The other reason is the national political environment that weighs heavily in Cheryl's favor. Um, but and you mentioned New Jersey's a blue state. We are. However, let's face it, we're not as blue as we used to be, let's say,
No.
15 years ago. Harris only took New Jersey by 6 points, and Citarelli came within 3 points of knocking off Governor Murphy 4 years ago.
Right.
So, New Jersey's not as blue as it once was, but it is still blue.
No.
And I believe that will be the case in November.
I suppose we shall see. But I appreciate your perspective on it.
Well, I've been looking over the data pretty carefully, and I'm especially Mike had again. I want to tell people to please listen to his interview with Katie. I forget her last name. I'm
Brennan.
sorry, Mike. Katie
Mhm.
Brennan, who won an upset victory in her primaries up in Hudson County. And as well as I do, knocking off the Hudson County political machine is not something that happens often, and she did it. So she is a face to keep an eye on in the future in New Jersey, very much so. At any rate, the most intriguing thing that she pointed out was that primary turnout was up 30%. So we're seeing people going to the polls. That's something we didn't see in 2024, unfortunately.
No, which
And
is good.
we had too many people, and that's a nationwide issue, too many people sitting out that election. And we're seeing people across, not just in New Jersey, not just in her district, but we're seeing throughout the special elections that have occurred since the election of 2024, turnout has been higher. Where we would want to see it, no, I don't think we'll ever get to where we want to see it, which would be where Europeans are, around 85%. But turnout is higher, and that indicates that despite the moribund activities of our national leaders in Washington who make me sick, the rank and file are saying, we're not waiting for our leaders, we're going to get out and vote.
Right.
And they're doing it nationwide.
Right. I think a lot of people are learning too. Like, I hear from a lot of younger voters that I talk to and try to help empower is they feel like, especially in New Jersey, that some people are like, well, my vote doesn't matter because I would vote blue anyways, and we're already blue or whatever. That they're like, it's not going to matter. I'm not going to vote, or I'm blue in a red state. Why am I going to vote? It's not going to matter. And like, it does. Like, it does. It adds up and it matters, and it's so important to vote. Every single vote matters. All of them do. Exactly.
You bring up an interesting point. Why is voting important? Well, for everything you just said, and you said it better than I could, so I won't even add to that. There's another reason why you should vote. There's another reason. It gives you skin in the game.
It
And
does.
I would ask everybody in chat, how do you feel when you're walking, whether you vote Democrat or Republican or independent, I don't care. How do you feel when you get done voting? If you're like me, You feel damn good when you leave that voting booth. You just feel
Mhm.
good for reasons you may not even understand, but you feel good. You feel like you're a part of the system. You feel like you matter. That's another reason to vote, is not just your vote in that election and what it would mean for the particular candidate, but for your own self. It makes you feel that you are a part of what you want tomorrow to look like. And that is another reason why you should vote, not just for the candidate, but for yourself.
Right. And if everybody felt like their vote didn't matter, like their voice didn't matter and didn't vote, we wouldn't have it would like nobody would vote. Your voice matters and your vote matters, and it doesn't matter what side you stand on. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Your voice matters. Use that voice because you're still a number. It still counts. It still speaks to something. Like vote. Vote. No matter what. Educate yourself and vote. If you feel like you don't know enough, educate yourself. There are so many things going on. There are so many ways to just easily access information. Like vote. Vote.
I think the current administration is going to try and make voting more difficult. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Stop? No. At least not at this moment.
I don't think they have the power to stop it. I think they have the power to make it more difficult.
Again, it's the whether or not they have the power is to an extent is irrelevant because they're doing a lot of things that they should not be able to. So,
Yeah, because
do I think they will try? Yeah, I think at some
because
point they will.
if they do this, if we end up with this military law stuff that he keeps wanting to push, that will be one of the things that'll be in the powers because all of our rights will be suspended if that happens.
I don't
Right.
think there is
Under martial law.
I don't think there is officially a way to enact martial law in the United States.
There is, but it looks different. Di spoke a lot about it. She said it would just be different if they allow him to. That's why, if you notice, he keeps. I know we all think they're crazy, but they have a way. Their method is working. There is a reason why a group of people that make up a minority in this country are running so much shit.
Oh, I mean, I don't think they're all crazy. I just think he is.
Yeah.
I think quite a few of them are. And I just think it's different kinds of crazy.
Well, yeah.
All the same crazy? Absolutely not. But that's what that language they keep using, all this insurrection, and we've got all these wars, and
Sure.
I mean, if we're at the point where they're literally sending active duty troops and National Guards into multiple cities across this country, we have to stop saying they're not going to. That's part of the problem. People kept saying they're not going to. Oh, they wouldn't do that. Or, yeah, right. Hello.
Mhm.
If anything has been proven or shown to anybody, is yes, they will. They will do any and everything that they're allowed to get away with. That's why accountability is so important.
They're sending forces to fuel this propaganda that in these cities, these blue cities, that this is terrible stuff is happening, when like that's propaganda. It's not really what's happening. But at the same time, like this is why it's so important to vote, because we might see a turn in tides. Like this is the time more than ever to use our voices and show that we are not okay with this, that we don't like what's happening, we don't support it, we're not aligned with it. Like we have to vote.
Yeah, amen. We have to vote. It's what we've got. It's the power that we've got at the end. And if we're talking about things like martial law, it would look somewhat different in this country than it does in other countries. Namely, first and foremost, the means, method, and delivery of information would be taken over by the government. That would be how they would control us. That's the thing that you have to be watching more than anything else. And I know I'm on my soapbox again about this consolidation of media, entertainment, and social media, the news delivery, the entertainment sphere, and social media all being brought into one large conglomerate. That is unique in the American experience, and I can think of nothing that is more injurious to a democratic society. Nothing. I can think of nothing. Not ICE isn't that bad, not the troops in the cities. Nothing is a greater long-term threat to this country than the consolidation of news, entertainment, and social media all under one umbrella. That's terrifying, and it's happening as we speak.
In Canada, it is propaganda because if you see the way the news is oh my goodness, portraying, why was that so difficult? Portraying protests versus people on the ground on social media in some of these places, they are different. They are focusing on the very few to make it look like the entire movement is bad, and it is not. It is generally peaceful, but they aren't going to tell you that, and they aren't going to show you that. I know that they're on TikTok, and for the most part, they are peaceful, but they are not going to show you that on mainstream media here in this country because they don't want you to believe that. They want it to look like we are crazy. They want it to look like we are bad because that's it, and it's propaganda. It was propaganda when our president said that the January 6th peaceful protest was peaceful. It was people just speaking the truth. It was patriots. But if you're not them, it wasn't peaceful.
Yeah, nothing spells peaceful like rubbing fecal matter on the Speaker of the House's office
Oh, of course, and threatening their life.
and beating security guards with flags
Right,
as if they were
absolutely.
weapons. Nothing says peaceful quite like that.
And damaging government property, a government building because you're mad. I don't care what side of the coin you sit on. You incited fear. You are terrorists. That is terrorism. I don't care. Don't care. But again, they are utilizing propaganda in the media, in the news, in news outlets to make it look like what the president is doing is justified, and it is not. People are peaceful. We are allowed to protest. We are allowed to use our voices. And he is actively trying to stop that because he is scared. Because the tides are turning, people are waking up. These younger generations, we're not taking this. We're not sitting down and being like, yeah, okay, nah, we're going to speak, babe. We know that we have the right to protest. We know that we have the right to speak up, and we are going to do it. We are protecting people. We are protecting Americans and humans because it is our right and because we have the ability to do so. And the current administration cannot stand it. The people are using Reddit in different forms to gather, to get together, to stop ICE, to stop these terrible things that are happening, and the president cannot stand it. He's not going to show you that. He's not going to tell you that because they don't want you to see that. We are bad. That's what they want you to see, that we're wrong. That we're wrong and we're bad and we're violent and we're causing harm, to silence us because we're not.
So the one thing we need to remember about things like protests and stuff like that, we wouldn't be protesting if the current administration was doing good stuff.
Yep.
Every response that we get from an administration when protests are happening is because there is something going on that some or all of the population disagrees with, at least, or to the point of doing something wrong. When you've got an administration that has no line in the sand on how it will do things, this is what we're going to get. It's just a fact.
And look at the new environment that we're now in, whether we realize it or not. We already know about Fox News and the Murdoch Empire, which are the largest. But now CNN has fallen. CBS has fallen. The Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, Time Magazine. That's just in the news delivery. What about entertainment? They're buying up HBO. They've already merged Warner with Discovery, and that now gave them CNN. They've now merged Paramount with that. In social media, they've got TikTok. And let's face it, they've got Meta. And unless I'm mistaken, within the year, you're going to see them purchasing YouTube as well. That will give them the three-legged stool of news, entertainment, and entertainment includes movies, television, and streaming, and social media. They will have a right-wing lock on all those things. They've already got it. The mergers have been approved. And why do I say they're going to make the move on YouTube within a year? Because we have a FCC that will approve it. They would have never approved any of these mergers that have already gone through. They would have never approved it under any administration, Republican or Democrat, in our history. And you have a Justice Department's antitrust division, which is doing absolutely categorically nothing. Think about the dissemination of news with Fox, CNN, and CBS all under one rubric. And entertainment with HBO, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Discovery, all under one rubric. TikTok, Meta. Now, Meta isn't a part of the new TikTok firmament, but Meta is playing ball. So that's dangerous stuff, folks. That's all very dangerous stuff.
And it's dangerous no matter what side you sit on.
Exactly. I would say the same thing if it was being bought by George Soros.
Guys, we gotta do. I'm trying to figure out a way, and my brain's getting fried because, like, obviously the microphone thing isn't working. But it's like we're just like talking over each other, and it's like it's getting to me. Like I've seen Mike, like he could tell I start breathing, and then you guys just start talking. We just have to be mindful of each other. We're not just one of us sitting up here. There's three of us. And obviously something's going on with TikTok on the screen where we cannot see. So please, let's just be mindful because my brain cannot handle that when we're over talking. And then when I start talking and then you guys start talking, my brain just, it just, my little squirrely ADHD brain, it just goes flying right out the window.
Sorry, Kia, I didn't know you were trying to speak. Both because of the thing, and I did not hear you at all. So, but go ahead.
WREL actually did a nice, good deep dive into the whole thing, what you were speaking about, Scott, with the whole breakdown. They did the breakdown with the media, with the journalism, all of those things. Just to let you guys know, they also have a tube channel, and it's just those letters, WRAL. But go look at those in-depth, and they do it in such a way that they break it down where even if you don't know all the big words, even if you don't know all of the things, you don't consider yourself to be extremely educated, in a way that it's easy to digest. I mean, they literally showed the pictures of the company names because sometimes you may not recognize the name out loud, but if you see it on the screen, you see their brand, their label, whatever they want to call it, then you could see what it is. But they talked about that, and they talked about how dangerous it is. And I realized, one of the things I realized in listening to other people talk in lives and seeing on videos is how lucky I am that that's the kind of news source that I have access to every single day. And that people that live, live in this area have access to. Because you guys are right. They even did that story and they showed how like all those Sinclair stations like cover different stories and how you can play 50 different news stations from across the country and they're all saying the exact same things. Scott is right. That is very, very dangerous. I mean, when you take it the fact of what they're doing in the media to what they're doing in our kids, do you guys not see like this is a whole picture and it's all because if you start the kids when they're little already being misinformed and underinformed, when they get to be older, you can easily tell and control them. You can tell them whatever you want. You can show them whatever you want, and they're not going to think to question it because they've never been taught to.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention Sinclair. You're right. Because the right has controlled talk radio for so long, and there's an example right there. I just didn't even think of it. They've controlled it. And if you're looking for a name, his name is Ellison. He's the one who's putting all this together. He's building a media empire that makes Rupert Murdoch look like he's handing out a penny flyer at a shopping mall. I mean, Ellison's empire is going to dwarf anything Fox has. And they'll be aligned with Fox. I mean, the network of Walter Cronkite and Edward R. Murrow is now aligned with Fox News.
And where will you get independent, or where will you get media that you can trust? From independent journalists that, I mean, the fact is that at any time that you have these things going on, there will still be people that will be putting out independent stuff. It just won't be as easy to access as it currently is.
And Kia brought up martial law before. Folks, that's what martial law will look like. It won't be tanks. It won't be troops in the streets, although we have those. That'll only be in a few of the big cities. We're a very large country, the United States. What it will be is that every single bit of news, entertainment, and social media, or most of news, entertainment, and social media that you get, will be slanted to the right. It's already put together. Those mergers have already been approved. And that should scare the living hell out of anyone, because Marshall McLuhan had it right decades ago when he said the medium is the message. And if they control the ability to deliver the message to the people, well, that's what most of the people are going to believe.
And it's sad because both sides should be scared. Truly, both sides should be scared because it's not just about right versus left at this point. It's about right versus wrong. That if they're controlling, if one person or like certain people have control of every single outlet, it's not just about right or left, it's about right or wrong. They can send the wrong message and twist things and make things the way that they want them to be and have complete control. And that's scary. And that's why I think outlets like this, like Mike's platform, right? And having this outlet to speak and things like this. And I learned so much from Scott and from Mike and from Kia and from everybody that like these are so important because it's things that the news isn't going to tell you. It's things that you might not see there. It's different perspectives and different opinions and different, backgrounds and things like that. And that's so important. Knowledge is power. Hearing from other people, hearing from people from different backgrounds, from different states, right? Like I think Scott and I are the only two New Jersey people up here right now, but having other people in the panel from different states, seeing things differently, seeing things on the ground in their state, in their town, in their city, like even that is so important that having all these voices is so much power, and that's why they want it to go away, exactly. And it's scary that it's happening and people are like, yeah, silence the radical left and silence this and silence that. But you don't get it, because once we're silenced, you're going to be silenced too, until it's just an echo chamber of what they want to be said, to be said. That you're okay with it now because they're not coming for you yet. You're okay with it because they're silencing the opposite side. But what you don't realize is you're next. Once we're quiet, once TikTok is changed, once YouTube is gone, once all of these media platforms and outlets and streaming services are silenced and are fit to a specific standard, they're coming for you too. You're not going to be able to speak out against people in power. You're not going to be able to speak what you want. The freedom of speech is going to be a lot different. And yeah, learning from other countries and things too. It's so much perspective. But again, we're silencing that.
I think we also need to understand that, not to say that it won't still happen, it obviously will and is. in some ways it is harder to prevent information from getting out there now than it was before, back even in the 40s. Pretty much everyone, it was newspaper and radio. You did that, if you had that, it was easy, quote unquote, to stop information. It was easy to limit the information getting out. It is not that easy anymore. That doesn't mean they don't have the capability of doing it. That doesn't mean it's not something we're going to have to deal with, but it's not going to be the same. It's not as easy to get to just stop other information from getting out. This is one of those, as much as I hate that they've opened the bay doors when it's come to like the internet and stuff, this is also they've made it harder for them to hold on to things in the way that they will want to because of it. So, I mean, it's not, again, I'm not sitting here saying, don't worry, everything's fine. I'm just saying it's not like it was. We need to remember that.
And I think something too that's important is that just keep in mind, y'all, like there's still so many parts of this country that while they have access, the access is not the same. Like, thanks to the infrastructure bill, I just got I've only had high speed internet at my house for a little over a year. There's still areas, and now that the funding's been cut, they're not going to finish that project. There's still a lot of people out here that don't have access to the internet. They don't have access to devices. I live in an area where there's people who are barely struggling. They're barely eating. So keeping up with stuff. And that's going to be the way when the people that are paying attention, when they're able to put out whatever kind of information they want in whatever format, and like Scott says, over social media, through the TV stations, through journalism, like how Allie was talking about earlier with the book banning, like y'all, it has been for so long. I think the scary part is like now, of course it's always easier to Monday morning quarterback to look back. Hindsight is 2020, to look back and see. But it's like this is where it's like where I say this has been something that's been building for a long time, and they've just done it in small little bits. It hasn't been as in your face as it is now. That's why it's like now it's not like, okay, we're starting to sink a little bit. We're at the point where the whole bottom part of the boat is already full of water. We're just waiting for the top part of it to go down. They've been working on filling in that bottom of that boat and slowly sinking the ship as we know it for a long time. And this is why how Mike always talks about voting in the primaries, if y'all don't understand how important that is, because these people have been working on this for a long time. And I hope people take off their rose-colored glasses and stop thinking that there's anything that they won't do. Because if anything, that has been proven. The first time, then secondly, I kept saying to myself, I know people keep saying, it's got to be a white man, but the fact that they picked this person over a qualified, educated Black woman shows a lot about this country and about how much misinformation and non-understanding of the world and how it really works is still out there in 2025.
Well, a couple of things, Kia. Good points, by the way, all of them. A couple of things. Not only they selected him over a far more qualified Black woman, but you can go back to the original sin. How the hell did they ever nominate a guy like this to begin with? How did a major party ever nominate a buffoon, a con man, a fraud, a rapist, a thief in 2016 to begin with? But that's another story. The thing about the news environment is it has changed, folks. And what it means is that, at least for the foreseeable future, you're going to have to dig to get the truth. You're going to have to do some digging on your own to get the truth. You're going to have to find sources to get the truth, because the major sources have all been wrapped up, and they've been wrapped up in a right-wing firmament. Anytime you have Fox, CNN, and CBS all saying the same thing and all saying a politically slanted thing, they can no longer be trusted. But what about entertainment? And this is a point I wanted to make. Why do I bring that up? It's a three-legged stool. It's social media, entertainment, and news delivery. And why is it important that HBO, Warner Brothers, Paramount are all now controlled by Ellison and his allies? Why is that important? Because entertainment, folks, whether it be streaming services, television shows, motion pictures, they are the major part of our culture. And our culture changes our minds subliminally. It's not overt. And in this way, it's more insidious. It is a subliminal propaganda that can change people's core attitudes. So much of the way we think, whether we know it or not, has been formed by our choices of entertainment. That's what makes the entertainment industry so huge in this country. And that is what makes this so important, that they now control the entertainment industry. They know this. They know that they can subliminally change the way your thought processes work. And that's what makes this so vitally important an issue. And I wish more people were screaming about it, like what's it called, WRAL, that Kia listens to. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. But that's what makes what they did in running a whole series of why this is such an important issue. I don't know why the New York Times isn't doing the same thing, because they should be.
I'm telling you, Scott, I really think they have a Tuba U channel. They have a website as well. But I would offer for that, and that's for anybody, especially if they don't. We have like something they do is called PolitiFact, where they check stuff on both sides, and they don't just say, oh, this is false or this is true. They show articles, they show court documentation, they show bills, they come with the receipts, and then they rate it. Is it all the way true? Is it mostly true? Is it half true? And they go in depth. They have this segment called In Depth with Dan. I think his last name's like Haggerty maybe, or something like that. But they break this down, and like when you hear what Scott's saying, talking about how they're breaking down all these media things, when you actually saw, like for me, like I get it, but even seeing it on a screen, seeing all these different names and then just seeing them slowly disappear, that really gets it. It's a whole other way for people to be able to digest information. And I love those deep dives in plain language.
And that's damned important. People need to know about this. People, it should be self-evident that we need to know who is delivering our news, who is delivering our entertainment, who is owning our social media, who owns them. Because the medium is the message. And as Mike said, we are going to have to be a little bit more diligent as news consumers, as entertainment consumers, and as social media consumers. We're going to have to be more diligent than we ever thought we had to be in the past.
Yep. What's up, Shug?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Good morning, Shug.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Kid. Hey, Allie. Hey, Scott. And Mike. Yeah, as y'all are, I just, had to say that, Mike, you and Kia, listening to you all that morning, y'all brought up some good points. And like I said, will I ever be as, maybe as, I guess, passionate per se in this spectrum? Probably not. But what I can say for sure is that you all are right in whatever ways I can be passionate and, ballots and all of that, I'm going to be. One thing I encourage anybody who's here that when you're voting, there's a saying that I've always heard, and this has been well before I was voting age, and I've always heard this saying where it says, "Oh well, I voted for the lesser of two evils." No, that is the most ridiculous stance for me that one can take, because if you're still voting for evil, right? That Vote for who you believe is going to do the best job. Like like all these individuals are encouraging you right now. Don't vote for evil. Vote for who you believe is going to do the best job based on what they're saying and what they're about. Um, don't just don't just do what your parents did. You make the best informed decision that you can and do that. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Um, but we can, the orange one, that fella's just for himself, straight up. He is for himself. He always has been. He always has been, and nothing is going to change about that for him. And I would love to believe you can teach an old dog new tricks, but come on, man. It was almost 80. Nah, pretty set in himself. And yeah, and I do want to touch on one thing that Kia said. Y'all really, if you sincerely believe they won't do X or do Y, just let history be a guidepost for you. They've shown time and time again that they are willing to take the most extreme measures possible. So whatever you think they won't do, they've probably already done it, and you might just not know about it. But they will do it. Make no mistake about it.
In the end, that mentality, regardless of whether they will or not, is a dangerous mentality to have, because it ends up being a way to justify not getting involved. Like, oh, we don't need to worry about that, so I don't need to get involved. Yeah, I saw that. Claire, do you mean like recording something and putting it up?
I think because we've been talking so much today, you haven't had as many opportunities to push like you have been, like especially last week. We haven't heard you tell people, hey guys, anybody in the chat here, we're also streaming over on the tube. So if you want to come over and say hi, you don't have to worry about the 140 character limits. You also don't have to worry about filtering of simple, silly words. Come join us. Make sure you hit your thumbs up on your way in, but come join us over there on the tube. We're also enjoying and engaging in the conversation.
I'm also just really tired today. I didn't sleep well last night.
I'll give the commercial now then, and I'll throw in the thing about the tube. Folks, as always, this has been a fascinating, far-reaching, and informative conversation. Frankly, you don't need to listen to the news if you tune in here, folks. You'll get all the news you need to hear. And that's all thanks to our wonderful host, Mike. And if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see Mike's name, but that's not what I want you to focus on. There is a little orange heart next to his name. Please tap on that heart. And down comes a big box. And if you look on the right-hand side of that box, you're going to see 6 small rectangular boxes. Some will be blank. You don't have to worry about those. However, some will be shaded in black. Please tap on those boxes. And there's a reason I'm asking you to do that. That way your content creator, Mike, gets points. But there's a bonus here. You get the same amount of points. You get just as many points as Mike does. So that's the world's ultimate win-win. And we're talking a lot about the tube today. Please go over and check out the tube, and there's 2 reasons. First and foremost is the content. Mike posts excellent content up there. He has really good, interesting guests in long-form content. They are informed, they are provocative, they are interesting, as is your host. It's usually about politics, but not always. You'll find a subject there that you will enjoy. Please watch it. And if you haven't watched any of them yet, just do this. Just watch one of them. I guarantee you you'll fall in love with it. And there's a second reason. We've touched upon it today, but as Kia said, we didn't talk about it enough. We don't know what the future of TikTok is. Let's be honest. We don't know where we're going with TikTok, what's going to happen. Please get used to going over to the tube every now and again and becoming familiar with it. It's in your interest. It's in our interest in this community, and it's a really good idea. And don't forget about Discord and the Stack. The Stack is Discord is where the community can talk about anything they want, and the Stack is where Mike opines on a subject of interest to him that day. He encourages community engagement. That's what the comments are for. And here's the best part. You can read it or you can listen to it, whichever you choose. Both are certainly valid. Some people like to read. If you're old like me, you probably like to read it. If you're younger, you probably want to listen to it. And you have that choice. Please go over to the Substack because Mike has very, very provocative essays on there that I think you will find interesting.
And just so everyone knows, there's going to be a lot of cool things coming, at least onto the Tube of You channel. Multiple people want to be a part of it and help make stuff. So you'll see some new people doing stuff by themselves and doing stuff with me, longer and some more shorter content, things like that. The only reason I haven't done it is right now it's all me, and I just don't have the time to be able to do it without being able to get to the point of being able to monetize. And I appreciate all of you that are watching constantly over there. We're growing. We're just not growing as fast as I'd like, but that's shocker. I mean, that's I would like to be able to make enough to pay all my bills. So that's always going to feel too slow until I get to that point. So, but there is a lot of cool stuff coming, with a lot of amazing people that are going to be a part of it over there. It won't just be politics. It won't just be religion. It won't just be news. There will be that still. But we are going to expand because, again, having society is about more than just the politics. So you're ready for a shorts episode?
Yes, I'm ready for me to have my episode, damn it. I want to see a black lady up there.
Hey, to be fair, I have emailed quite a few. I finally heard back from somebody.
Oh, y'all, just Mike can't hear me say this. It's not like I haven't offered. I might not be able to do a long one, but I can do a short one. We can.
I'll throw in some cat content. Also, my cat would like you all to know that not all orange things are bad. He is orange, and although he is a menace some of the times, he is a great time. And he says, please don't judge all orange things based on the orange thing in charge of our country. That's all.
I just want
Duly noted.
I just want to throw this out there for you guys too. For those of us that have more than one device, like what I do is like I'm listening over here on TikTok, and then I have my iPad playing with the Tube of You, so he's getting full live viewership. And then I just mute it so you don't have an echo because there is a delay. But that's a good way to do it if you have more than one device, so you don't actually have to participate in both. But even if you just let it play in the background on the tube, that gives him that viewership that he needs to help get him up there.
Really?
Yeah. So like,
I didn't, because I went on one day on YouTube and Everett said I got confused by it, not surprisingly. And then I was on here, but I have another device. I can click on YouTube and just turn the sound down?
yeah, that's what literally I have my
Shit,
iPad.
I'm going to do it
my
right
iPad-
now.
Well,
My
right now we're
iPad-
about to get off. So
My iPad's
But you-
sitting right next to me and I just mute it. So because there is a delay, it does not play at the same
Yeah.
time. But at least he gets that. If you comment, even if you're just throwing emojis in there, even if you're not watching the whole time over there, if you can go over there, throw a thumbs up, any engagement is telling them that we're liking what he's doing.
Yep.
Okay, just did it.
There
Now,
you go.
where's the thumbs up thing? Where is it? Oh, here it is.
There you
Here
go.
we go.
Look at that.
Oh, I'm getting so damn good at this shit.
But yeah, so you'll be hearing. I'm actually going to be talking with all the people that are going to be a part of it, in terms of expanding it in the next couple weeks, and then we're going to look at actually what it's going to look like expanding it after that. So you'll hear news about it. And yes, Kia, I'd be happy to have you on. You know that. I just forget because I'm dumb.
I told Scott, don't you remember though? I just want this affirmation before we end for the day. Don't you remember I told Scott I was going to help him and I was going to get him through this, and he kept saying, I don't know, I can't do this stuff. And look at him. Look at him up here doing
Yeah, I
freaking
got on
commercials.
Discord. Hey, by the way, do you know your graphics are a whole lot better on the tube than they are on here, TikTok?
Mhm.
Oh, of course you knew that. I just discovered it.
Yes, everything is going to be better over there because that's designed for that. Like what I'm doing on TikTok is really, they're just growing the capabilities of doing it. Like they're trying to add things, but because it's also being thrown on a small little screen, there's limits on what you can do. Where I have a lot more capabilities on the tube. Like there's a lot of cool things that I can do on the tube.
I'm excited. I can't wait to see it.
So yeah. I'm gonna take off. I actually have an interview coming up in an hour and 15 minutes. I need to get some food and move around and wake up because I feel like I'm falling asleep. If you haven't noticed, I apologize for everyone. I feel like my eyes are closing on me. Guys, thanks for coming up and hanging out. I appreciate you. I'm also gonna be I'm gonna be on Shug's live on the Purple app some point in the next few weeks to be interviewed by him. So there's some cool things going on.
I'm going to try to go live today. I guess we'll just see what happens.
Oh yeah.
Mike, where are you going to be doing your interview in an hour? If you didn't say already.
It's not live. It's a recording.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So yeah. Guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the gifts. I appreciate you all. Thanks for everyone that was over on the tube and did their thumbs up and just hung out over there. I appreciate you. We're getting close. We're over a third of the way on view hours as it stands right now. To actually be able to monetize. We're like halfway to people being able to subscribe. They call it subscribe on YouTube. They call it joining when it's actually like a monetizable thing on the tube. So we're like halfway there for that, over halfway there for that, but we're like over a third of the way for being able to get like commercial advertisement money. So either way, I will see you guys tomorrow morning. We will talk about something else because I'm sure something crazy gonna happen today that we'll talk about tomorrow.
I already know what I want to talk about tomorrow.
Oh gosh.
What happened overnight and this morning.
Yeah. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile, do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys. Goodbye, YouTube. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.